You're watching this video because you're a Habs fan, right? Well, it's Fan Appreciation Month here at Habs Hockey Report, and coming up, I've got your chance to make an appearance right here on the show. Welcome back, Habs fans, to another episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at the All Habs Hockey Magazine YouTube channel, part of Rocket Sports Media. I'm your host each and every Thursday. My name is Amy Johnson. I also happen to be the lead correspondent at our sister website, ahlreport.com, covering the Laval Rocket and Habs prospects. So glad that you're here with us today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Tap that subscribe button while you're here. We're here with you every single week throughout the year, not just during hockey season, bringing you credentialed coverage of the Canadiens, the Laval Rocket, Habs prospects, and a lot of fan interaction. August. It's notoriously the time of the hockey calendar that is probably the quietest. And so what better month for fan appreciation than August? And that's what we're going to do this month here on Habs Hockey Report. We are really focusing on you. And granted, we do that every single week with an entire segment of the show that's just dedicated to hearing from our fans. Fan interaction is one of the keystones of Habs Hockey Report. But this month, we really want to put the focus squarely on our fans and Habs fans around the world. So we're going to shake things up a little bit, do things a little bit differently, and coming up, not only are we going to get into some of your reactions to last week's feedback forum question, we're also going to give you this week's feedback forum question to think about, and we have a way for you to get involved with Habs Hockey Report this month and potentially be featured in a video right here on the show. So let's get started. For the most part, all is fairly quiet on the Habs happenings front. As we've said, it's a quiet month typically on the hockey calendar. Hockey front offices, hockey players, many of the media, in fact, take their vacations this month knowing that it's kind of the calm before the storm before training camp ramps up in September. So just to take care of a couple of news items with the Montreal Canadiens, things that happened this week, another coaching change, this one a little more under the radar when it was announced that the Montreal Canadiens video coach of the past 25 years is stepping down from that position. And so Daniel Harvey from the Laval Rocket, who served as the Laval Rocket video coach this past season, has been promoted to the NHL club to take that position over. And now we will wait to see if Laval hires another video coach or if they revert back to how it used to be for years prior to that, which we're kind of hoping they fill the position, because how it used to work for the Habs AHL affiliate for years and years and years was that goaltending coach Marco Marciano also pulled double duty as the video coach as well. And those are really two full-time separate positions. So hopefully we'll see Laval also bring in a new video coach before the end of the season. Things just, all those pieces of the puzzle starting to fit into place. Also, the Habs rookie tournament and rookie camp has been set for early September. The Canadiens are going to be taking place in a prospect tournament held in Buffalo this year. This is a gathering of 5 different NHL franchises. Each franchise will play 3 games, and so the Canadiens will face off against the Sabres, against the New Jersey Devils, and against the Ottawa Senators. And so it'll be a lot of fun. It's taking place at the beginning of September. We'll have all the coverage of that as the rookies for the Montreal Canadiens start to kind of get their feet wet, so to speak, and take their first strides wearing the CH. Should be a lot of fun. Prior to that, however, Habs prospects are playing hockey right now. World Juniors 2022 version is set to take place next week. And there's a number of Habs prospects who will be playing, vying for that championship. Remember, this was postponed from December when COVID shut down the World Junior tournament back then. So this is the postponed date. None of the Team USA Habs prospects, however, made the cut for this roster. They still have the opportunity to make the 2023 roster for December, but Lane Hudson, Blake Biondi, and Luke Tuck all cut from the 2022 August roster for USA Hockey. However, for Team Finland, Oliver Kapanen and Petteri Nurmi will be participating for Team Finland. Jan Mysak will be playing for Team Czechia, and for Team Canada, Joshua Waugh and Riley Kidney will be also involved. So all the action starts next Tuesday with the first games happening in Edmonton, and we'll be excited to keep an eye on that. We'll have all the coverage over at ahlreport.com. You can follow us and all of the action on Twitter at the AHL Report. That's our feedback forum question this week. It's undeniable, though, that the World Juniors is one of the most popular hockey events of the year when it starts on Boxing Day on December 26th and goes through the New Year holiday and into the first week of January. August is a completely different beast. So the question for you is, will you be watching the World Juniors? Do you plan to watch it as intently and as closely as you normally do, or are you just going to kind of check in here and there? Also, are you one of those folks who only roots for your home country, or do you kind of go into it rooting for your favorite prospects, so on and so forth? So I'd just like to know kind of what the World Juniors means to you, watching the World Juniors, and whether or not you're going to be the same kind of World Juniors hockey fan now that it's taking place in August this year. Leave me a comment down below. We will be sure to read your responses next week. All right, well, it is Fan Appreciation August, so there's two big things that we want to cover in this segment. The first is, I did promise to tell you how you could get involved with Habs Hockey Report and be seen on the show this month. Pretty exciting, right? Well, what we want to do this month is feature you as Habs fans, showing the world what great Habs or hockey fans in general you are. And so I'm putting the call out to you. Submit a video of 2 minutes or less. Doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be shot on your phone. You don't even have, if you're a little camera shy, you don't even have to appear on the video yourself. You can if you want to talk us through what we're seeing, or we could just hear your voice if you want to do that, or you could just silently take the video. But what we want to see is show us how being a great Habs fan manifests itself in your life. What does that mean? Well, perhaps you've got a gigantic jersey collection that you'd like to share with all of us. Maybe you have a really, really extensive hockey card collection. Doesn't even have to be Montreal Canadiens solely, but maybe you just have a really big hockey card collection. Maybe you've got a really unique collection of pucks, or maybe the family room of your house where you and your family or your friends sit and watch games. Maybe you have it really decked out and decorated in a way that's unique, that's fun, or just screams, "Hey, I'm a Habs fan." Well, those are all of the things that we want to see. I want to showcase all of those things to all of our viewers, to thousands of people around the world, and maybe it'll inspire a Habs fan somewhere to say, "Hey, I would love to do something similar myself." And it gives you an opportunity to just show off what a great fan you are. So here is what you do. Shoot a 2-minute or less video showing us any or all of those things, and email it to me at amy@allhabs.net. In the subject line, write Habs Fan Appreciation Month. The deadline for you to get this in will be next Friday, which is August 12th. So by 11 p.m., August 12th is when your submissions need to be sent in. So we will remind you again next week on the show, just in case you forget. But it gives you a little over a week, and we will take the best of those, put them all together, and feature them right here on the show. I'm so excited to see what kinds of collections you guys have. I think it's going to be really fun, and I just really look forward to the opportunity to showing all of you off to all of the thousands of Habs fans that watch us each and every week. So, as far as our feedback forum question for this week, again, remember, it's I'd like to know about your how much of a fan of the World Juniors you are, and whether you plan on watching just as intently as you do when it happens at its normally scheduled time in December and January. Last week's feedback forum question certainly had some interesting answers. We asked last week about the Stephane Robidas hiring as assistant coach for the Montreal Canadiens. Some of you loved it, some of you hated it. And I can understand that. And the video that I did last week in reaction to it was about an hour after the news had come out. In fact, Stephane Robidas' news conference hadn't even come out yet. And maybe it's better that I did last week's show before his press conference happened, because I was already pretty vocal and opinionated about the hiring before his press conference. I was even more so after his press conference, after some of the things we heard him say. In fact, if you'd like to hear a really deep dive breakdown on how I feel about that, on how Rick Stevens at All Habs Hockey Magazine feels, click this link over here and listen to last week's episode of the Canadiens Connection podcast. I had the honor of guest hosting on that show last week, and we took a really big magnifying glass to the Stephane Robidas hiring, examined it from all different angles, up, down, and sideways. Lots of really great insight and analysis there if you'd want to check that out. But as far as you all go, we had Matt Cheer said, management is all in for this coaching crew. They are all in it together. I think that's pretty accurate. It's kind of like a do or die thing here with the lack of... Alex Burrows now has the most coaching experience on the Montreal Canadiens bench. To me, a little scary, but we're going to have to see how it all works out. James Snedden said, Amy, I have to admit that I was surprised by the Robidas hiring, thought he would be a better fit in a player development role, perhaps moving into an assistant coach role in Laval as the next progression. Jim, I so agree with you. That's more, I mean, even going straight to an AHL coaching position is quite a leap for someone to make who hasn't coached at all, but at least it's something. Jim continues and says, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as Gorton and Hughes continue to shape the future direction of the team. I do worry a bit about the lack of coaching experience in-game short term. And I agree. So thank you, Jim, for your comment. We have Gordon saying, give him a chance. If after 1 year it's easy to fire him, we want to lose this year for a good draft pick. I can understand where you're coming from, Gordon. Everybody wants that Connor Bedard pick. I don't know that setting out to tank and go through another season like they went through is wise for the amount of young prospects. That's not the kind of environment that you want to put young prospects through as they develop. There does need to be some winning. There does need to be some strategy. There does need to be, making adjustments and trying to get better and trying to improve. So no, we don't expect the Habs to make the playoffs anytime soon, but they may lemonade out of their lemons this year, but I'd like to see them not have to do that next year. But thank you for your comment. Harman Aljla says, I find it's a good hiring on the basis that the new management has been saying they're focused on player development right now. We all know they aren't going to make the playoffs next season. I'm with you right there. So they are prioritizing development. Great. This is a rebuild, so they're rebuilding the management as well and bringing in people who can grow and learn with the players as well and build a winning foundation that way. Martin St. Louis and Robidas have both also said that nothing much changes from midget bantam to NHL. Hockey is hockey. Keep it simple. And honestly, I love that approach. It's a breath of fresh air. Harman, I can agree with you that seeing all of the changes and just the weight of Bergevin not being there anymore, even Ducharme for as short of a time as he was, that weight not... I agree with the breath of fresh air. To be honest, Marty St. Louis and Stephane Robidas can say not much changes from midget bantam to the NHL until they are blue in the face, and I can't take them seriously. I understand that the general pretenses of hockey are the same from midget bantam to the NHL, but you cannot they cannot compare the two from a playing standpoint or a coaching standpoint as being anywhere in the same realm. If that was the case, I mean, you would see guys coaching midget bantam and going straight to the NHL all the time because they would have the necessary tools in their toolbox. I just think that it's something that the two of them are obviously saying, I don't know, maybe they're trying to convince themselves that, well, if I can do this at the midget bantam level, then I'm sure that I can be successful at the NHL level. And besides, I was coached for all of those years in the NHL. And so I understand what coaching takes. It's not quite as cut and dry as that. So I appreciate your optimism. I really do. And I understand the breath of fresh air. I'm just a little more skeptical, unfortunately. And as I said last week, I hope they prove me wrong. I really hope they prove me wrong. Funny, Alexander Thibault responded to my response to Harman and said, when you do your analysis of the situation, you focus on the wrong point. You seem to be really convinced that the Habs are adding bad moves by hiring guys without almost any NHL experience. Yeah. That's pretty much my concern. But he says, but like St. Louis said time and again, he learned about coaching while playing. I understand that St. Louis has said that a lot of times. And there's a lot of players who will say, oh, I learned so much from my coaches and I saw what coaches did well and what they didn't do well. And so I can translate that into being a good coach myself. But until Marty St. Louis has an actual, resume of an extensive coaching experience behind him, we don't actually know if the experiences he got from being on the receiving end of coaching as a player will translate into him being a good coach to others. So I can appreciate where you're coming from there. It's too early to tell. Rick Stevens, our founder and editor-in-chief here, always makes, to me, a great point. Wayne Gretzky, the great one, probably will go down as the greatest hockey player ever. Terrible coach. Coaching did not work out for him. So it's a great example of being a good or great player and getting a lot of experience from the receiving end from coaching doesn't necessarily translate into being an effective coach yourself. And so that's where my concern comes in. He also goes on to say, I believe the reason you're troubled is that for the first time in centuries, the Habs will finally take the time to develop properly young talents. I am not concerned at all about the fact that they're focusing on development because since I have been a credentialed journalist covering Habs prospects since 2015, for the last 8 years, I have been screaming into the void, the Habs need to focus more on development because it is a big weakness in their organization. So no one is happier than I am that they are finally focusing on development. However, there are proper ways to do development, and there's proper ways to put prospects into good situations where they are going to learn the most and have the most potential for success. And that's the difference. Wanted to say thank you. Richard dropped in a comment in Slovakian, just saying hello, saying, hey, I'm a new Habs fan here from Slovakia. We're all excited. We're watching the channel. And I have to say, thank you, Richard, for tuning in. Obviously, Juraj Slafkovsky, Filip Mesar are going to be very popular new prospects for the Montreal Canadiens. And you weren't alone, Richard. Last week, in fact, in the last couple of weeks, ever since the draft, our uptick of Slovakian viewers has gone through the roof. In fact, catapulting even past the U.S., where Slovakia is our number 2 country of viewership on the show ever since Juraj and Filip were drafted. So welcome to all of you who are watching from Slovakia. We are thrilled to have you here. I promise you we're going to have lots of information, not only on Slafkovsky, but on Mesar as well. It is likely that Mesar will go go to Kitchener and play in the OHL this year, and we'll be sure to have plenty of information on his progression as well. So welcome wherever you are. If you are a new viewer from Slovakia, say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. In fact, if you have not told us, no matter where you're from, if you're from Montreal or if you're from halfway around the world, if you haven't let us know where you're watching from each week, drop that in the comments down below. We'll do an All Habs roll call next week and kind of tell you where Habs fans are watching all over the globe. And we're just so thrilled to have you here with us each and every week. Remember, it's Fan Appreciation Month. Get those videos in. I can't wait to see what kinds of collections you have. Hockey collections, Habs collections. I just can't wait to share them with all of our viewers. If you missed last week's show, be sure to check that out right here, and I'll see you back again next Thursday for another episode of Habs Hockey Report.